Welcome back to Nostridamus. Today we're going to talk about student loan debt and why millennials are pretty screwed. So, one of the reasons millennials are screwed is that the jobs that they're getting are not paying off the student loans that they have. So, a lot of wages haven't risen in recent years. So, the current minimum wage in my state is embarrassingly like $8.65 or $8.75, but it is not any higher than that. That's rather appalling. What can you do with that low level of money? Now, it's true, not everybody makes that wage, but a lot of people that you would think make more than $15 an hour really don't. A lot of starter wages for when it comes to IT, computer programming, a lot of those starter jobs make less than $15 an hour to start, at least consistently. A lot of times jobs are for EMTs. Those are volunteer. Same with firefighters. So they're not even getting paid $15 an hour. They're getting paid nothing. So how is it that we're able to get ahead at all when we have no infrastructure bill? We have no technology defense. We have no basic way to work ourselves out of a Great Depression if it were to happen. And we just had a mini depression when it came to COVID. But when it comes to, lifelong crashing depression, we haven't had one of those yet. So we're just coming out of this recession now. And I think it might be good for a little while, but I do think that there are going to be problems down the road. And that's if millennials don't pay off their student loan debt. Now, I was able to pay off my student loan debt, but it was only about $10,000, and I was making, about $40-50 at the time. Not a lot, but enough to pay some of that debt down in less than 10 years. And I finally, once I had enough in my bank account saved up, one time, once it was, about a third of my savings, I just wrote a check, and I was free of my student loan debt. Fantastic. Now, one of the problems is how are we going to work ourselves out of that next Great Depression? Are we going to work towards infrastructure? Are we going to work towards roads and bridges and climate change infrastructure? Because one of the problems is we're still having to wait for the older generations, such as the silent generation, the baby boomers, and soon to be Gen X generations, to still work out their differences. And then finally, once, climate change finally affects us, we'll have gone through so many crises. It's insane, but we'll have none of the relief. So I do think it's a good thing Joe Biden has put out, and the Democrats have put out, their stimulus. I do think that maybe we need one more shot in the arm, figuratively speaking. But if that doesn't happen, then I do think that the next push should be for a higher minimum wage, because if we're not funding our society, if we're not, putting money in people's hands so that they can trade in exchange for goods and services, then our economy is not going to run. We're not going to have services. We're not going to have our best goods made here in America. Just none of that. There's just no investment, period. And basically, those wheels, those cogs, they stop turning. That's a huge problem. And I do think that we need to do something about it. So, millennials, if you want to make sure that you're not screwed, pay down your debt. It is the most important thing you can do. Dead serious. And I really think that you should work harder and work smarter towards your future. And if the jobs come up in the future where it's infrastructure and they pay really well, maybe you should take one of those jobs. It might be one of the few jobs that has benefits in the future. All right. Just want to let you know that I have some hope. I have some faith that maybe we can look at past experiences such as the interstate highway system, and we can see true growth in our future. But if we just keep clinging to cheapening out for society, then we'll just see nothing but decay as the time goes on. So that's my prediction from Nostradamus, is that there is no future or there is a future, but we're going to have to build it ourselves. And we're going to have to take the reins of power. And I really do think that there is really no other way to make the changes necessary. Because the older generations, they're stuck in their ways. They're not going to learn. They're not going to be able to help us. They're going to be just far too late in what they do. I really do think we need to change it up.